stop. Before you do anything else today, I need you to look at this coin. I had an email to send, an important one. The kind where you read it 17 times and still aren't sure if you sound too aggressive or too passive. So I flipped a coin. Heads, I send it. Tails, I don't. Heads, sent. And honestly, it felt great. No anxiety spiral, no second guessing, just done. So I thought, what if I did this for everything, every small decision, for an entire week? What's the worst that could happen? Yeah, we'll get to that. But here's the thing, nobody tells you about decision fatigue and why randomness might actually be the answer, or the worst idea you've ever had. Possibly both. Let me back up. I make somewhere between 200 and 300 small decisions before noon. What to eat, which route to take, which task to start first, whether to answer that text now or later. Most of them don't matter at all, but my brain treats every single one like a mini board meeting. And there's actual science behind why this is exhausting. It's called decision fatigue. The idea that willpower and mental clarity deplete with every choice you make, even trivial ones. Barack Obama wore the same outfit every day. Steve Jobs, turtleneck and jeans, always. Mark Zuckerberg, gray t-shirt. Same reason. They weren't boring. They were protecting their cognitive bandwidth for decisions that actually mattered. More choices often means more friction, more regret, and more mental drain. So I set some rules. Simple ones. Heads means yes, tails means no. It applies to food choices, routes, task order, whether to take a break, what to watch, anything that would normally eat up mental bandwidth. Big decisions off the table. I'm not flipping a coin on my rent. But anything small, annoying, and genuinely low stakes, coin decides. I gave it 7 days. Day 1 was genuinely liberating. I woke up and flipped for breakfast. Tails, no eggs. Heads, toast. Done. 30 seconds, zero stress. Flipped for which route to take to my meeting. Heads, the longer scenic one? Fine, why not? And here's the weird part. I was less anxious. Not because things were going perfectly, but because there was nothing to second guess. The coin decided, I just executed. Psychologists call this decisional relief. When the burden of choice is removed, even artificially, other people often feel lighter, more present. It's counterintuitive, but removing agency in low-stakes situations can actually increase your sense of control over the day overall. I got more done in day 1 than I had in the previous week combined. But wait, the coin said eat junk food for lunch, not treat yourself junk food. Now, rationally, fine. One bad lunch doesn't kill anyone. But I felt it. That afternoon was slow, foggy, and I started to notice something. The coin had no context. It didn't know I hadn't slept well. It didn't know I had a big call at 3 p.m. It didn't care. And that's the thing nobody mentions about randomness as a system. It optimizes for nothing. It's not trying to serve you. It's just noise with a 50-50 split. By day 3, the coin had told me to skip my workout twice. Watch something I didn't actually want to watch. Take a meeting I should have declined. Each individual call was defensible. Together, they started adding up to a version of my day that felt weirdly not mine. Here's what I didn't expect. I started cheating. Not consciously, but I'd flip the coin, see a result I didn't like, and feel a surge of resistance. A very clear, no, actually, I want the other one. Which is fascinating, because that feeling, that's preference, that's value, that's the signal you're supposed to listen to. The coin was basically running a really uncomfortable diagnostic on my actual wants. When you remove the ability to choose, you suddenly realize how much of your choosing is intentional versus habitual. So here's the aha moment. And it hit me around day 4 or 5 when I was sitting there staring at the coin like it owed me an apology. The coin wasn't the problem. My relationship to small decisions was the problem. I had been treating every micro-choice like it required genuine deliberation. Like the wrong call on lunch would cascade into some catastrophic outcome. That's not careful, and that's anxious. The coin exposed it. Because when a coin makes a bad call, you just move on. There's no one to blame, no spiral. You eat the weird gas station sandwich and you survive. Researchers at Columbia and Stanford have found that people who make more decisions in a day don't just feel more tired, they make qualitatively worse decisions later in the day. Judges are more likely to deny parole in the afternoon. Doctors order more unnecessary tests by the end of their shift. Shoppers make worse financial choices after browsing too long. The drain is real, and most of us are draining ourselves on things that genuinely don't matter. Now, here's where people push back on this. But I like making my own choices. Yes, same. But random choices might compound badly. Also true. Day 2 lunch, I rest my case. But you can't just outsource your life to a coin. 100% correct. And that's the entire point. The coin isn't a lifestyle, it's a mirror. What it showed me was which decisions actually required thought, and which ones I was just exhausting myself on out of habit, anxiety, or the illusion of control. So how do you actually use this without losing your mind by day 3? 3 steps. Simple ones. Draw a line. On one side, decisions with real consequences, health, relationships, finances, major commitments. On the other, everything else. Everything on the everything else side is a candidate for simplification. Not necessarily a coin, but some kind of default, rule, or shortcut. Instead of flipping a coin every morning about breakfast, just have a rotation. Monday is X, Tuesday is Y. Not because those are perfect choices, because they're good enough and the mental energy you save goes somewhere better. Obama's suit strategy wasn't about the suit. It was about the budget meeting at 10 a.m. When you're stuck and the decision feels sticky, flip a coin. Not to follow the result, but to see how you react. If you flip heads and feel immediate relief, that's your answer. If you flip tails and feel resistance, that's your answer too. The coin doesn't decide. The coin reveals. Common mistake: using randomness to avoid decisions that actually matter. That's not optimization, that's abdication. Know the difference. If you only remember one thing from this video, the goal isn't to make fewer decisions. It's to spend less energy on the ones that don't deserve it, so you have more for the ones that do. But here's the thing, this only works if you understand why your brain resists simplifying in the first place, and that's a whole other story. So, a week of coin flips. Here's what I actually learned. Randomness is a tool, not a lifestyle. Decision fatigue is real and it's costing you more than you think. And the smallest decisions, the ones you're agonizing over right now, are probably the worst investment of your mental energy you could be making. The coin didn't fix my life, but it did show me exactly where I was leaking energy. And that was worth every weird gas station sandwich. If this made you think differently, hit like. It genuinely helps. And I want to know, what's one decision you wish you could just flip a coin for? Drop it in the comments. I'll read every single one. In the next video, we're going deep on why humans instinctively overcomplicate things, even when simpler is objectively better. It's more psychological than you'd expect. But first, you need to know this one thing about why your brain fought the coin even when it was helping you. And it starts with something called the autonomy bias. See you there.